One mistake in a welfare check can lead to a lethal
Deshaun,
outcome.
stop.
And
Come on,
almost
come
nobody
back
notices the transition from a cry for help to a tactical crisis until it is too late. The situation reaches a critical threshold as Deshaun expresses a desire to die. In American law enforcement, this is known as a suicide by cop threat. It is one of the most dangerous scenarios an officer can face. Notice the deputy's immediate response. He isn't escalating with force, but instead briefs his partners on the subject's mental state. This internal communication is vital for situational awareness. For any homeowners or security professional, recognizing when a verbal dispute shifts into a psychological crisis is the key to preventing a permanent tragedy. The mission has now fully transitioned from a routine check to a life-saving intervention. The moment Deshaun bolts across the train tracks, the risk profile spikes. Foot pursuits in low-light environments are high-liability events, especially near industrial infrastructure. Notice the officers don't just run blindly, they communicate their direction to dispatch. The uneven terrain of gravel and rails makes a tackle dangerous for both the officer and the subject. However, the primary goal is to prevent Deshaun from reaching a more hazardous area or finding a weapon. In many US jurisdictions, a subject fleeing after making suicidal statements must be secured for their own protection. It is a calculated use of force to prevent a greater harm. Once the subject is cuffed, the tone shifts instantly from pursuit to medical care. Deshaun admits he is drunk as hell, and more importantly reveals he purposefully overdosed twice earlier that day.
Come on, Deshaun.
This is the pivot.
Let's stand up, pal.
The interaction is no
It's
longer
okay.
a criminal matter. It is
Stand
a
up.
medical emergency. Notice the search of the subject's person. The officers aren't looking for contraband for an arrest record. They are searching for pill bottles or substances to inform the paramedics. This pharmacological intelligence can be the difference between life and death once he reaches the hospital. Every detail gathered on the scene is a vital piece of the clinical puzzle. Observe the physical handling of the subject. The officers roll Deshaun to his side into what is known as the recovery position. This is a critical safety protocol in American policing to prevent positional asphyxia, especially in subjects who are intoxicated or in respiratory distress. For community members and homeowners, understanding these protocols builds trust in the why behind police actions. The deputy's calm dialogue in the patrol car reinforces this. He explains that the destination isn't jail but the hospital. This strategic use of medical resources instead of the penal system is the essence of modern crisis intervention. The final handoff to the EMS team at the hospital closes the loop. The man who was a perceived threat in Part 1 is now a patient in Part 3. By moving the crisis from a public street to a clinical setting, the police have maintained the safety of the neighborhood and protected the long-term health of the individual. For those concerned with residential stability and property value, this is how professional service works. It balances authority with a commitment to human life. It is an engineering of social safety that turns a potential tragedy into a path for recovery. The system worked because the officers chose patience over impulse.